All right. Let's see here. Okay. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and get started. So today we are just so incredibly excited to celebrate Ambreen Nadeem and her book. This is something I know that is such a passion for Ambreen to discuss her book, and also too for Courtney's Corner to really highlight authors, their effort, their hard work that they put into these books, to then be able to have an audience to speak to bring it to life, like the author in the book. I just love that. I love highlighting books out there, but I think it's so important sometimes just to be able to speak to the author and to hear their perspectives in real life. So this is an excellent opportunity. I know the majority of people here today certainly do know Anne Breen, but since this is being recorded and maybe some others do not know Anne Breen, Anne Breen Nadeem is a psychologist, master neuroplastician, and doctoral candidate in applied neuroscience. She's a founder, speaker, and best-selling author, blending science and strategy to drive innovation and well-being. Recognized among the top 100 global thought leaders, she proudly supports her son's mission to transform education together, building a movement fueled by curiosity, compassion, and change. And just a little bit about Courtney's Corner, exactly what I was saying, just highlighting authors, their efforts and hard work. And I think it's important to, sometimes just come together and to be able to witness different perspectives, to walk away inspired with other, like I said, just thoughts and perspectives from the author. So Ambreen, we'll go ahead and get it started with questions. I thought we would do maybe a couple questions and then we'll cut for Q&A at the end. So to begin, this book at the very beginning, you speak about your journey and how your journey was, at least this was 20 years in the making of thoughts and perspectives that you had gathered. And so my question for you is, if you could just walk the audience through that journey, what inspired you to write this book and just your overall thoughts as you reflect now on your book?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for creating this platform where like authors can speak directly with their audience, because I think this is a wonderful idea that like authors usually write the book, and I know they know that there are a lot of readers reading the book, they share the review, but having the face-to-face meeting, I would just say, like, these kind of platforms, it's much needed, where they can actually interact with the readers, and readers can also ask direct questions. So I think this is a wonderful initiative, so thank you so much for creating it, and thank you for having me and giving this chance to share my voice, share my thoughts, share my journey here with the audience. So coming back to your question, yes, it was a long journey, but I think everything happens for a reason. It was meant to make me or build me this way. So long time back, like if I go back during my teens, so there was a time, like first of all, I would just like to share that my dad used to be a palmist, and he was a great palmist. He and his brother, like my uncle, was so good palmist that they could actually predict with date, time, like in even the minutes. So, and this was amazing. It was fascinating. So I learned from them palmistry as well. So I shared this idea to connect this part later with my concept of free will. So back in the days when I was in my teens, my like we were having really good times. My dad used to have a good job in a multinational company, but when I was in my teens, almost like when I was about to go to college, he lost his job. And when he lost his job, we faced really severe financial crisis. And that was a time when it was really troublesome. And I took it, I think, more seriously, and it was on my head that I got really depressed, that I thought that, okay, since we don't have financial backings, we can't do anything. And I saw the way people change, because when you have some kind of financial stability, there are lots of friends around you who may just be there for the sake of your, being there to, for the, who are maybe get impressed by the social status. But when real tough time hits you, then you realize that those fake people actually move away. And as a kid, I could see the behavior, like the way people used to come to and visit us, and the way the people don't come and visit us. These are the things that were really, really depressing for me at that time. And it's like, and since the uh, like we were having those crises, there was no way that there was like it was getting better. And so, and at that point in time, I thought that life would not get better, and there was no point of living in that. And it was so depressed that I used to say, this must be end, because I cannot live like that. But in those time, I had this struggle, that maybe, and it was like, because I like to actually discuss everything with myself. So like when I was just having those thoughts, having like in this, why it's happening, and if it's not gonna happen, if nothing's going to get better in this life, there's no point of living it. But then there was a thought that there is a chance that maybe I can change. And the reason why I was just thinking that, is it cannot change, because I'm a palmist also, and I could see all the struggles in my hands and everything. It's like, it's so many struggles. So that means life is going to be like this. I cannot change anything, and I have to struggle. Then why live that life with full of struggles? But then, what happens was I saw, I will tell you that what actually gave me courage. It was a very small incident, but I remember that when I was like having these kind of thoughts, and I saw a trail of ants actually. And it's like, they were, they follow the same line, and there was some blockage in their line. And what happened, that they did not stop. They actually altered their path. They took a longer route, but they did not give up. And it just gave me a thought at that point in time, that if that like insignificant insect did not give up when their paths were blocked, then I may have a chance also to actually maybe change the path. And maybe I may have more struggle, because when I saw that when the ants were moving to the other direction, they took a longer route. There were more struggles, but then I'm sure that they will reach to their destiny, right? To the destination. So that's what I was just thinking, that okay, maybe there are struggles, but maybe we can actually reach to our goal. And that actually changed my mindset. Then I started seeing things in a different way. And when I started seeing things in a way that okay, I may have the power to change, I started seeing the change in my attitude. I did not change the environment. Of course, I could not change the circumstances, because, of course, I was very much dependent on my parents. I cannot do anything, but I did started doing lots of things, like in our culture, like especially kids do not start working till they pass their universities or something. But at that point in time, I realized that, okay, I may give some tuition to kids in my, like, in my surrounding. And I started doing that. So it's kind of thing that I got kind of independence at that point in time. I said, like, look, I saw that, I could do a lot of things if I start just changing my mind. And at that point in time, I realized that I need to share this to the world. But I didn't have any resources. I didn't have any experience. I didn't have anyone around me. I, Tim. And so I didn't have any support. So at that point in time, I decided that it needs to be changed. And then what I did was that I actually made a plan, and I written it down, that how would I actually, I wish I had that paper with me, but I just gave myself 20 years, because I know that at that point in time, I didn't have any financial support. I didn't have any kind of support. Even I belong to like South Asian culture where women are just meant to, get married and have kids, and that's it. That is their role that they actually society expects them to do. So having that kind of goal was definitely not acceptable by anyone. So I didn't like, I tried to share, but I didn't get any positive feedback. So I just kept silent and I said, okay, I will do it in a silent way. I will not tell anyone. And so I just wrote down the entire plan. And that's why the 20 years, because in that plan, like a first part was that I need to complete my master's and then to get a stability in the career, then to get married and to have kids. And I know that by the time my kids will be like, around 10 or 9, they will be independent enough so I can focus on my book. So that's why I gave myself 20 years that like at that point in time. And that happened it exactly in around like 2020 when those 20 years almost was finishing. Then I started doing my LinkedIn journey. Actually, in the meantime, like, especially when in those 20 years, what I had planned was that I was writing article because I know that I need to strengthen my skill of writing. So I was writing articles to the different magazines and to the newspaper and giving like talks even in the universities at that point in time in Pakistan. So I was building all this my personal brand, but what happened was that like my husband actually moved to Saudi Arabia in 2010 or something. So I had to move. So all the personal brand that I had made in Pakistan was actually lost because I had moved to another country. I lost my career. I lost everything in that way. So, and I didn't know what to, my kids were were small at that point in time. So I had to restart everything. So, anyways, I was quite lost because this was a new country. I was getting a lot of job offers as well, but I did not opt for the job because my kids were very young at that point in time, and especially in this country where like women are not actually supported. Now it's changing, but at that point in time, it was not. So I decided not to do that. And then, anyways, so I started doing that, and then like to to cut it short, I would just say that in 2020 I started my LinkedIn journey, and then I got a really positive feedback, and then I started building my like proper brand here, and that's why I just think that I think everything happens for a reason because I was focusing only on one country, but when I actually moved here, then I thought that I need a better platform, so I think that's how everything happens. So that's I would just say a brief journey.
Ambreen, thank you so much for that introduction. I have to hold up the book. Everybody, I know it's a little bit blurry here. Let me see if I could get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
There we
Thank you,
go.
Tim.
Kind
It's
of.
6
I'm
a.m.
sorry,
at
guys.
your time.
It's a little blurry. The Algorithm of Life,
Yeah.
international best-selling book. And Ambreen, just by discussing your introduction that you obviously have in the book as well, I mean, to share your authenticity and to be vulnerable, like you said, I mean, everybody goes through struggles and challenges, and we can all relate to that as human beings. And I think that relatability part, that's what really like pulled me into the book. And I really did. I could not put this book down because these topics, these larger than life topics that we're about to discuss, they're fascinating. And I think before I move forward, I want to say something about like the struggle, how important it is to have community around you. And I want to genuinely thank everybody who is here today supporting Ambreen in her book. It's truly amazing to see people come together like that. And I think, especially today, if anybody is going through difficult times, it's really about that connection and community that is going to help everybody, move forward. We experience it one time, or another in our lives. And so I just want to genuinely thank you for such a beautiful introduction that you just gave. And this next question, Ambreen, I'm fascinated by coincidence. And I do not want to like speak for everybody in this call, but maybe once or twice, maybe you have experienced how you will be thinking about somebody And then all of a sudden, a text message or a phone call pops through, and maybe it's like been years or something. And so the topic of coincidence. So, Ambreen, if you could just maybe expand your thoughts and knowledge and enlighten us with just your thoughts on coincidence.
Yes, thank you so much for asking. It just is is such a fascinating topic that, it used to actually made me wonder that what's happening around me, like why it happens all the time. Uh, so the thing is that I used to also do a lot of research and everything, but if you look around and we see that we are all energy being, and like, this I know that it's everything around us is physical and it's all governed by the physical law, but there is something going on behind this. I know that there are some glitches that I would just say that these coincidences are the glitches that actually tells you that there is something, some force behind it that is running all this thing. It's not only this, maybe like we can see that this is a physical um, like everything is governed by the physical laws, but there is something more to it. It's not something that is going on and on by itself. There is something, some governing body over there. And what is it? And that's what I used to think a lot, that what is it, that why it happens when it says that, when you think of something, or maybe when you think of somebody, you'll get the text message from them, or maybe they get some kind of idea. So that means there is some connection, the connection beyond those physical laws. And what is this going on? So then when you actually research more on that, then we find out at least, and that's the reason why I'm doing PhD, because when like people ask me that why you're doing this, and so I say it's all a personal discovery. It's a journey that I want to find out why it happens, all these things. I'm trying to understand the neuroscience behind this. So the thing is that we are all energy beings, right? And we are all connected, and every act that we do is somehow connected with, maybe with your life, or with lives that are maybe not, which may not have the direct causal connection. I would say it is interlinked, it is intertwined in a way that it doesn't look at the face value that it is connected, but it is all connected. We are all one, as like, you guys know David Dibble always say that, we are all connected, we are all one at this point in time. But it's the only thing is that our rational mind comes into play and see that, and tells that, um, we are separate. We are not separate, we are all connected in that way. And how we are connected, like even now, the science also proves that especially like our heart produces the electromagnetic field around us that actually can connect. And that's why you see that even when you meet with people, you get the idea that, maybe they don't say anything, they don't behave any way which can give you some cues, but you get just some feelings. So these kind of things that tells us that we are not just these physical bodies, we are more than that. And coming back to the coincidence part is, um, even if you look around, I've actually read palms of like hundreds and thousands of people, but and I've seen this pattern also with people, that the moment you try to actually think of doing something, or you have the goal in your mind, you will start meeting those kind of people or the opportunities which you might not have even thought about it. Like all of a sudden, like for example, you might get a call from your friend and they'll just say, oh, I know someone who can just meet. And you would not even have thought about it that it could happen, but it happens just because you start thinking in that way, right? So that gave me this kind of the idea that the power we have is in our thoughts, which can actually create these miracles in the form of coincidences. And I'll just give you like detailed explanation that how these uh, coincidences are linked with our destiny and our, I would say this the entire in this divine orchestra. Yeah.
I love everything about that, Ambreen. I just want to go through the chat room real quick. I'm just picking up right here. So let's see here. So Valerie, beautiful analogy, Ambreen. I believe that was for the ant when you were speaking about that. Darlene Kunha, such a beautiful and inspiring story. Love that. It's your personal journey and your story. And Andrew Nowak. So nice for you to be here. Ambreen, the new Young. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So back to coincidence and something I think it's so interesting that you say that though, because I'm sure we have probably experienced this. I mean, even since being on the journey, I've been able to experience all of you here on the chat room. And so it's interesting when you put something out there without a doubt how things start to connect. So thank you for that, Ambreen. The next question deals with free will. So you begin this particular chapter with questions that you kind of rhetorically ask the reader. Have they ever thought of, quote, how did I get here? Was it my choice or was it predestined? And I think these are like those larger than life questions I love kind of reminiscing on sometimes. So if you can maybe just expand your thoughts on free will.
Yes, thank you for asking this question. This was the main thing that actually made me write this book because as I told you in the beginning that I used to read poems a lot, and what happens was that my dad and my uncle used to be like very very good palmists, and then I learned from them. I used to initially I was really bad, but then when I started doing that, when I used to predict the people of the future for the people, it used to happen the same way. It's like people used to believe and come and say, "Oh my God, you this is so really right." But then what made me wonder, like, if I could actually predict anyone's futures, what is in their hand, right? That's something that really, really used to disturb me. And I tell you one thing that when I used to go to school, there was used to be a kind of a beggar in on the way. He he was like mentally not. It was mentally abnormal. He couldn't speak. His hand and legs both were cut off. I don't know like what was, and he used to sit and at that point in time, like I was very very young at that time, but I used to think, I mean, what's the role of his life in this world? Would he Does he really want to be in that role? Would he ever want to change his life? So that used to I used to think a lot, because whenever I used to say, I know that some caregiver used to come and then give some like to feed them, and then like a lot of people used to give the money, and at that point in time I used to really wonder that why it's like this, like why, like if I'm here, that I have some kind of some uh, the capacity to take the decision, but what is that person have? And then later on, when I learned the palmistry and everything, and then I started like predicting future, and it's still back in my mind is the same thought, that what is in my hand, like even I saw the struggles in my hand, like I still have lots of struggles, but I cannot, I would say, avoid those struggles, but I can only live through it in a way to to reach to my goal. Because either like if I just leave and give up and say, okay, this is something that I cannot do it, then the same thing's gonna happen, but the only thing is that only I will be not at the peace. But when I start taking it at the positively, that I can do something to it, I will be able to change my destiny. And how it happens, it's kind of a different concept, and it's a mix of all the quantum physics and everything. So in that book, what I have, because I was trying to figure out that what is this, the why it's happening. So I came up with kind of my own idea, which is like a lot of link to what other people also say. But my opinion is a little different in a way that free will is a very I would say, a very small window you have where you can play with your free will. Otherwise, nothing is in your control. Everything is in this world or in this universe is destined. How I would just say that if I look around, even if you look around, that like sun never, it's never like only never like a single second delayed. Never. You can see that if you plant a seed of an apple, you will always get an apple tree, right? You will never get an orange tree from the apple seed. So all these things, if you see, these are the algorithms that are running. And you can never, never, ever change these algorithms because it's already written that it's going to happen. It will, some seed will not grow into the tree, some will, some will, like whatever that happen. Even I would just say that everything is so much destined that if this conversation is happening, this is the same way it is meant to happen. The only thing that is in our control is we can't change anything, we can't change circumstances, we can't change anything about this in the world or in the universe. The only thing we can just have in our control is our thoughts. And why am I saying this? Because we are, as I said, that we are the energy beings, and we produce energy, like in the form of like when we eat or do something, anything we produce. And same thing, like when our thoughts are also the outcome of the energy, right? Where, and where does it come from? We never know. We don't know where these thoughts come from, but we know that some spark happens, some neural uh, some synapse just connect and something happens, and that energy gives us thought, but nobody knows exactly that from where it comes from. So what my opinion is that it's the actually the soul is the main, I would say, behind us. Like our energy imprint is our soul that actually creates these thoughts. Now, what happens is that like these thoughts are there, and it's thoughts. I would just say that these thoughts are the result of lots of like chemical action, chemical reactions in our body, right? That's the given. But we need to be in control, like our soul needs to be in control, because lots of chemical like reactions happen, like 60,000, I guess, thoughts are produced in a day, right? But what thoughts we need to focus is our choice, right? And these, if you see that if lots of people are operating on very low level of frequency, right? So those, like their brain is producing lots of energy, chemical reactions happening, and they are not listening to the soul. I would say their soul is not in command. Their physical body is in command, which is actually going on its kind of a autopilot mode. That lots of reactions happen, lots of things happen, and they are just listening to the thoughts and doing what the thoughts are doing, saying this. But you need to focus that what is your goal in your life, right? And that's how you start to focus on the thoughts, which can help you empower, right? So in if we define everything, like if we look around, that what's happening is that when the person is born in this world, they are given a certain destiny. That is 100% sure. Like you cannot choose where you're born, you cannot choose that you are what gender you're in, or whatever, like your circumstances. So you are born, you are given a certain path. And I just gave the example of the train tracks. So those tracks are given to each person, and the track means that when you are on the track, all those circumstances that is going to happen in your life is already written. So whatever it is, this is written over there, and you have to follow that track. No, you cannot change anything in your life if you are on that track, right? If it's going to happen. But you can only change your destiny by changing the track. So the track could be maybe owned by some other person or whatever it is, but you need to change that track. And how you do this, you have to actually focus on the thoughts that what you want to achieve in life, right? And that again that is linked with your purpose. Like, you realize, okay, this is something that I want in my life and I want to go for it. You nurture those thoughts, you focus on those thoughts, and you build the more energy in that. And the energy is, again, like, emotions are the one that actually gives more power to the energy, and that creates the supercharged kind of a magnet in your brain when you focus on one thought, that is something that you want to achieve. And now even the quantum physics says this, that if you create that kind of energy, it has the power to create entanglement. And like, those who don't know the concept of entanglement, is like those particles around us in the universe, they have the power to create an entanglement with another particle. So no matter how far the particle is, they're going to behave the same way. For example, if I that move no matter thousands of light year far, that particle will move also. So that thought creates an entanglement with the goal of your life, and then you start seeing the miracles happen, and then you start seeing those coincidences, that because that those coincidences are meant to actually change your path, right? Because if you want to go on the destiny where you are given a destiny A, you want to go into the destiny B, the track B, you cannot change anything on track A, but you need to go on the track B to fulfill your life. And you may need to actually hop or swap so many tracks, because it's not only one track, this like you just change. It's Life is not that easy that you just change one track. You may need to change swap to so many tracks. So you may need to, there will be one coincident will actually change, will take you to the track B and then the track C. And now it depends that what is your current situation and what is your goal and how many struggles you need to do this. And those coincidences, I would say, it could be miracle or it could be a misfortune. But in that point in time, you need to trust the plan. You need to stay to your path, to your goal, that okay, you may need to change a bit of like a strategy, that okay, this is, but you need to be struggle, you need to be resilient, and you need to be strong, that okay, this is my purpose, I will reach there. There will be a lot of struggles, there could be a lot of miracles, there will be a lot of, like, joyous moment, but everything is there is going to happen to build you or prepare you to be there to reach to your goal. So the free will, I would just say, what we have is that it's our power to focus on our thought that can create that kind of entanglement to help us reach to our destiny.
I just love everything about this. I have two quotes, and then I'm going to open it up to the audience to ask some questions. I know some people are taking some time out of their schedule today, and I also want to give a shout out to Timothy Gleason. Timothy Gleason is in Australia. I believe it's like only 6 a.m. or a little bit
Yeah.
after. So shout out to him for supporting me in
Thank you.
my brain. But
Hello, Courtney.
yes, yes.
Look, I've got to go. I've got to get to work, so I've got to leave and jump on a bus. But I just wanted to
Sure.
say that Anne Breen's book is one of my favorites. To cut a long story short, I dreamed of a university education. This was 20 years ago, and like Anne Breen is saying, you can talk yourself out of it, self-doubt, all that sort of thing. So I kept that dream to myself, and I went through so many things. I attended a person's university graduation, and I just said to myself, I want to be one of those people one day, to be up there, standing up there, getting my degree. And so I did I just did everything I could to get that done. And just the power of dreaming is real. We can achieve anything when we put our mind to it. That's all I wanted to say. And Ambrine's book just explained all of that. It's so important. We are so powerful. We can do anything we put our mind to. It's just that we need to direct that energy, those goals, the time, everything. We can do it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Thank you
yeah,
so
thank
much.
you, Ambreen. That
Thank
just
you.
your book explained everything that occurred before, and it's just like,
Mm.
oh, that's how. Oh, that explains it. So it was just like it was just amazing. And
Yeah.
Ambreen's book, it's timeless. I can pick up any chapter, read any verse, and I can just pick up a new lesson. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But thank you all. I
Thank
got
you.
to go.
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you so much. Really means a lot to me that you joined. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we could open up to the audience. I'll just look at the actual video first. I know Barbara Vokatis certainly has a question in there that I'll go back to, but anybody, I know
Yeah.
some people may need to go. We're good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Dr. Barbara Vokatis, she says that I wonder what is one big thing you learned so far in your PhD journey that adds to your thinking about the topic of us as energetic beings. Excellent question.
Yeah, and PhD journey is something that I'm still trying, but the thing is, uh, the more I see that, how intuition is linked, because that's my PhD dissertation is now is it's like I'm still like now working on it finally, and it's that how intuition is linked, especially in the decision making, and that is our power. And what I want is to create a framework for the leaders that how they can use it. So I want to understand that how they actually how the intuition help them to make the decision, and the more I do the research on that, that it's not rational. The decision is not like when we think that it's logical, we think that we take the decision, but the thing is, it's our emotional brain that actually creates the decision. And then when we listen to that brain, it gives us power because I think our soul speaks in the language of emotions and feelings. And so we need to listen to this more. And why this is important in this era is because all the logical thinking is outsourced to AI. The only way we can actually create our to set ourselves different from the AI or create more, I would say, be unique is embracing our humanness. And I think that is the power we have, the intuition power, the primal intelligence. We need to embrace our humanness in this time instead of like, mastering the rationalism or rational thinking or logical or algorithmic thinking because we cannot beat AI from that perspective. Yeah.
I was just, Barbara, if you want to say anything in response
Yeah.
to your question for Ambreen.
Sure. I mean, that sounds very exciting because decision making, and I know that Umbrin and I have one of our favorite podcast hosts, Ed Milet, right? And
Yeah.
he is talking a lot about it because many people want to know Ed, how do you make decisions? Everybody struggles with it. There is a lot of fear about what's going to happen. I'll make the wrong decision. It's actually sort of complicated and it's not, depending how you look at it. But people want to know, they want to have some sort of help and guidance. So it's like what kind of role intuition plays, emotions, and should you still use a little bit of logical thinking or not? And now how AI plays in this, I think this is really very, very cool topic. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting for more results of
Yeah.
your diving deep into this.
Yeah, just want to highlight that that doesn't mean that not following logic is not to be logical. And in fact, if you want to listen to the intuition, you need to have a big, very, very good at logic, because that is how you understand that this is not logical. And if you are his, in my college, I have a subject. I've like learned logic as a subject as well. So I know that you need to be you need to be very good at logic actually to counter your logic. Otherwise, you will be stuck in your logic. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I have a question on
Yeah.
intuition, but I
Sure.
want to go over to
Yeah.
Darlene's question. What chapter did you struggle with or took longer to write that truly aligned with your thoughts and being? Excellent question.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that two chapters, I would just say, I actually the struggle was this the intuition, because I really, because I knew it that it is there, but when you actually start writing it down, you just, as I told you, that you need to be master of logic to actually defy logic. So you know that what's happening, you know that what it is, but then you don't know how to do this. And also this chapter of free will, I mean, this is the entire concept which actually took me the longest, because the 20 years were actually this, because I had this idea, but coming up with this kind of a concept was not easy, because lots of, and most of the time I would just say that I listened to the intuition. It came to me rather than like I studied, because a lot of people just said, oh, you read that book, and said, no, I didn't read that book. And then like after that I read that book, and they said, oh, okay, it's really much what I was saying, the same thing. So even it is strange. I would just say, I'm not saying that like I knew everything, but it's something that when I actually read the book, which is my favorite book, Think and Grow Rich, and say, oh my God, this is what I wanted to write. He already had written it. So the thing is that like sometimes, because when there is a truth, you know it deep in your heart. And that's what, like, when everything I read is something that's okay. If I know that, okay, that's something, there must be like I knew it from the intuition or something, or maybe somewhere deep in my mind it's already there. Maybe the God has given all the knowledge, or maybe that when, like, as David say, or like or lots of other people say, that like we are all one. So we share, like, or Carl Jung says, the collective unconscious, that we share all this information in our head already about each and everything that is ever present from the day this universe is born until it will end. So we all have it in our mind. It's just a matter of raising our frequency to gain access to. So yeah, that's I think, I hope I answered the question.
That's so sweet. And then Des has a few comments and
Yeah.
perhaps a question, so I'll turn it over to Des.
Yeah.
Thank you, Connie. Ambreen, obviously, just so the audience know, you are a super person. You've been a shining light for years. I'm so thrilled and privileged to be in your network. You do inspirational work. Hats off. What your son's created with his book as well is just underscores what an exceptional person, human being, and carer you are. You're amazing. So rock star status I give you. My
Oh,
question
thank
would be, reflecting on all the success you've had, where you're going in the future, what do you think the biggest superpower is for people to develop and use in their life?
Yes, I think it is such a big, such a great question. And I think for me, it is again to connect with your inner self. And that is again your inner self. I call it again the intuition, the voice in our head. That if you connect with them, with the voice, or with something, because I think that intuition is direct link to the collective unconscious, I would say, or the divine, or the universal information hub, whatever you may say. Like, if we can see that we don't need to, I think, explore the outside. We need to explore ourselves. And I think what I feel is that, as I said, that even in this at this time, we need to embrace the humanness, because that is our very much superpower is, and intuition is the right thing, is the right superpower. It actually will guide you to wherever you want to go in your life. It's just a matter of that we need to raise the frequency. And I would just say that if you can link with intuition, that how we can listen to the intuition or everything is again with our mind, that how we can control our thoughts, because we are always bombarded by the thoughts, but where we need to focus on the which thoughts or something that creates the real superpower. Because if we keep on thinking about lots of other things, like a lot of people think about like, oh, what to buy the stuff, or where to go, what to do another course or something, or what next project to do. Our mind is constantly in only stuck in that, in those kind of routine things, project after project, or thing after thing, or day after day. But what actually you need to focus on in the like longer term in your life. I mean, I would say this is something is very important. So I would say that the main superpower is intuition, and how we can use that power is through our thoughts.
Thank you. And keep using your superpowers then. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much,
Yeah,
Des, for coming on.
yeah, yeah.
And then we have another question from Andrew. What's the best question you ask yourself every day, dear Ambreen?
Oh, that's the best question. Mm, yeah, hi. So I actually ask a lot of questions to myself, and that's how I do. I keep myself aligned. But the thing is that what I usually do is to, first of all, like clear your mind. I would just say, just don't think of anything, literally, and then the ideas pop up. And that's somehow, that is the way you find the right way to go to. And if you ask that, what is the question that I ask? Every day is, I would just say, a different question, I would say. But well, it depends on the what project I'm doing. Like sometimes, like for example, that if I really want to take up this path or the other path, so I'll just do a lot of like I did. I don't know. You guys are not part of the neuroplastician hub, but I gave this talk last week and on the dreams. That before going to sleep, um, I do ask questions to actually connect with my dream work and do the dream analysis all the time. So that's how I ask my question to keep myself kind of aligned. Sometimes I'm so confused, and sometimes I do it for fun because I love to do this. I love to play with all the intuition and everything. So like what's gonna happen next, or what should I do, or should I do this, or should I do, and for the small, some insignificant, I would say, events as well. Like, should I, let's say, go to or do something like which is very insignificant, like should I, let's say, plan that event on this day or the other day, or like I just do fun thing. It's because I like to enjoy this process. So I don't know if I ask you if I answer your question or not, but I ask different questions.
Great. Great. I
Yeah,
just
thank you.
I just want to say one thing, and bring before we
Yeah.
I don't know what time we finish, but thank you, because I think our tracks crossed because the universe wanted it that way, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
So thank you.
likewise. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Andrew, thank you so much for that question. And then Valerie has a question. What connections to nature and other animals have you learned through your studies?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Valerie. Thank you so much for asking. It's like, I learn a lot from nature, literally. And as I told you that, when you just go and sit in the nature and you observe. And the one thing that I learned from the nature is that like everything is kind of governed by the physical laws. That is something it cannot change. And I've learned the physics, like Brian Greene, he's the like major physicist, and he says that even a rock would behave the same way as humans because of the physical laws that is applied on them. So like if um, it's just a matter that rock is meant to behave that way, it will always behave that way because of the physical laws that applied on them. And same way, humans will behave that way because lots and lots of uh, like chemical reactions going on, lots of physical pressure, the past knowledge. I don't know how many of you, or if you any of you have read that book Determined by Robert Pulosky. It's an amazing book, and it actually completely I think he's a neuroscientist as well, but so much scientific knowledge is given that humans are meant to do the same thing, that is like, that they are doing this, all the decision making, like, Barbara was asking, is is been done because of the certain chemistry in our brain is making us to make this decision. So it's like, and he has given so many, I mean, scientific evidence that what is in our control. It says that it is not in control. It's all the chemical reactions and this happening in our brain, the body, our past experience. We are meant to be here because of all those laws that apply to us in the past, and it's happening, and that's why it's happening. So it's fascinating book. I would highly recommend everyone to read that book.
Thank you so much, Ambreen. And I just want to give a shout out to Dr. Meg Waldron for making it in here. She has been so kind to put very nice messages throughout here. The last one that I saw is soft skills will no longer be bonus. They'll be the top skills. But I just want to open it up maybe for her to say a word. It doesn't have to be necessarily about that particular comment.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Ambreen. This has been awesome. Yeah, so my background is teaching high school, and now I work at a university in Virginia. And we know that so much of work is going to be automated. And so, how do you see soft skills playing a role for our future students, and how can we encourage them to kind of lean into some of what you've talked about today?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. Yes, soft skills are very, very important, because I think we need to master those things which AI cannot master. And those soft skills also are the ones like ethics, values, those like imagination. And that's why I'm more interested in dreams also, because so far I think AI cannot dream. Like dream, especially like when you sleep and dream, that kind of dream I'm talking about. So these are the things we need to learn and develop more. The power of imaginations, creativity. I would say that lots of algorithms are done in a way that, it seems that AI is more creative, but the real power of creativity is not the algorithm, is the imagination to think out of the box. And that can only be done when we listen to the soul, or our energy imprint, because we need to. I was also reading a very good article by Noval Harari, and what he said was in this, that all these like AI is reading all the behavior pattern, right? So what has been done so far, it can recreate. So now what we need to recreate is to be true to ourselves and let our mind wander and think that, what we can achieve, and we can make some wild connection. And that can only happen that when we need ourselves and we embrace our humanness, not thinking logical, right? We need to think beyond logic, I would say. I think I would always say that be illogical, but to be illogical, you need to be logical first. That is one thing that we need to really understand. Yeah.
That's such a beautiful, just it's like statement there. And I feel like we're just about to close out on time here, Ambreen. But I wanted to allow you, I can't even imagine to write an international best-selling book, what it really takes, the hard work, the effort, but most importantly, I do think it's that support system. And your book, you dedicate your book to your mother and the love of your life. And I just want to give the floor to you to just speak about their significance in your life and how they helped you along this beautiful journey that was truly an incredible success.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my mother is my inspiration, because um, like at most, like at every decision, my mom supported me, and she was the one who actually forced us to think big, like, because especially even like from the very childhood, she used to say that, okay, think something big, what you want to do, what you want to be, something in life. So that was the power that she had given us. The and all the time, like especially like I remember on all the decision, but I would just share a few here, that especially when I was about to take the my subject as like psychology in my master's, everybody around me actually said that don't go for psychology because there is no future for this, there is no career for psychology. And that was kind of true because there was no future of psychology. And but the thing is that I was very much passionate about it. And given that our financial situation circumstances were not very good, so there was a lot of pressure to go into the career, into the field which gives like monetary benefit. But my mom was the only one who said, go for your passion, don't listen to anyone. And there was like there was a lot of people were saying, go do MBA, go for marketing, go for the economics or something of this, but none of them actually interest me. I was such a like I was so confused. But then my mom said that no, do something that what makes you happy. So these kind of things, that's why I'm I would say proud of my mom, that she gave me lots of things, and I'm sure she is more proud of me, and I'm making her proud of. In hope so, but the thing is that I'm here just because of my mom. I would just say, because at every step she was behind me. So,
That is
yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And I just want to close out. I want to thank everybody for coming to this session, Courtney's book club, if you will, but for Ambreen, celebrating Ambreen, her incredible book. I cannot wait for the second one. I don't know if there's going to be a part two or a completely different book.
Oh,
We will certainly have you back, Ambreen.
yeah, thank
And
you.
it's truly been a pleasure. And I think it really just highlights the importance of our connection with one another and back to that community. So, thank you all for coming today and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Darlene, Valerie, Barbara, and Dr. Weldon and Andrew. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. It's really a pleasure to have you. Thank you. And thank you, Courtney, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely.